All right, let's dive into something pretty fascinating and, maybe a little controversial. Social system engineering. It really boils down to this one big question. Can the same kind of thinking that builds our cars and our computers also be used to build a better society? Let's get into it.
So this whole thing kicks off with a question that you probably wouldn't expect. I mean, how does somebody at the very top of their game in the auto industry, a world of engines and profits, suddenly pivot to fixing society's biggest problems? Well, the answer is all in one person's incredible journey.
And that person is Ahmed Saleh Rifki, the engineer who made this completely surprising leap.
Just look at his career path. It really tells you everything. He builds this amazing foundation in engineering, climbs the ladder to a huge role at General Motors, and then becomes the CEO of a super successful consulting firm. I mean, it's the classic corporate dream, right? But then, bam! Look at the end of that timeline. In 2011, he makes a hard turn. And that's where our story really begins.
So, what on earth would make someone do that? What sparked such a huge shift? Well, it wasn't about throwing away his skills, not at all. It was about aiming them at a much, much bigger target. He was moving from a world driven by corporate profit to one focused on societal purpose.
To really get why he made this pivot, you have to understand just how good he was at his job. Rifki wasn't just some engineer, he was an absolute expert at managing incredibly complex systems. We're talking international markets for GM, a consultancy that juggled engineering, commerce, and law. He basically mastered the art of making a million different moving parts work together perfectly.
And this is the light bulb moment. Rifki looked at society's most tangled, frustrating problems, things like poverty or education or development, and he realized they're all just massive systems that aren't working right. He had this deep conviction that the same logical, data-driven approach from engineering could be the key to fixing them.
Now, this wasn't just some passing thought. It actually grew into a whole formal field that he founded, called social system engineering. So, what exactly is it?
Okay, in a nutshell, SSE is about taking the best from two totally different worlds. You take the deep human understanding from the social sciences and you merge it with the rigorous problem-solving methods of engineering. And the goal isn't just to patch up problems as they pop up. It's to actually design better, more efficient, and sustainable social systems right from the get-go.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. The term social engineering, it sounds kind of sketchy, right? We usually think of manipulation or hacking people, but SSE is the total opposite of that. This is a transparent scientific approach that uses data not to control people, but to work with them to design systems that help everyone succeed. And believe it or not, this idea has deep roots. Way back, over 100 years ago, a sociologist named Ferdinand Tönnies was already saying that society couldn't keep relying on old, outdated methods. He argued we needed to use the most advanced techniques we have to make decisions. You could say SSE is the modern-day answer to his call.
So that's the big idea. But theories are one thing. How does this actually work? How does social system engineering go from being a cool concept to something that actually makes a real-world difference?
Well, it has a playbook, just like any good engineering project. Step one is to analyze. You use scientific methods to really truly understand the social system you're looking at. Step two is to design. You use hard, reliable data to cook up a solution, no guesswork allowed. And finally, you implement. You put that solution into practice and manage it to make sure you're getting efficient, positive results.
And this isn't just theoretical stuff. Rifki actually put this to the test in Egypt. He used this exact method to kickstart youth development projects and new literacy programs. He even worked with the government to engineer a better, more efficient system for getting foreign investment. That one-stop shop they created, that is classic systems thinking. He analyzed all the things that were scaring away investors and just redesigned the whole process to be simple and effective.
And that brings us to the final, and honestly, maybe the most important part of this whole story, giving other people the tools to engineer their own better futures. He didn't just keep this to himself, he literally wrote the book on it, called The Art of the Possible. It's basically a toolkit. It hands these principles of SSE to everyone, showing how this kind of systems-based thinking can help anyone tackle their biggest challenges and hit their goals. So as we wrap this up, it really leaves us with a powerful question for ourselves. If you could take this engineering mindset to analyze a problem, use data, and design a real solution, and apply it to your own community, what's the one positive change you would build? It really makes you think. Maybe our biggest problems are just waiting for an engineer's perspective. Thanks for joining.